going on, everybody? Welcome on into episode 121 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Friday, November 7, 2025. I'm your host, Zach Malum. But before we get started, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. Let's start things off in the world of football, as both of your teams are in action this weekend. We'll start things out at MetLife Stadium as the New York Jets host the Cleveland Browns Sunday at 1 o'clock. And Cleveland comes into this game as 2.5-point favorites, total sitting at 37.5. This one should be a snooze fest throughout. Both offenses coming in struggling into this game, and the total really tells you all you need to know. 37.5, very low total for two struggling offenses. Both of these teams coming off the bye, though, so they had some time to work on things. The Jets, of course, on one side traded their two best guys on the defensive side of the ball. You got Sauce Gardner out the door. You also have Quinnen Williams out the door. The offense did not lose anybody. They actually ended up gaining some guys in Adonai Mitchell at wide receiver, as well as John Mechie in that trade for Michael Carter last week. So they have a couple of new additions at wide receiver that they could add to the already loaded group of wide receivers in terms of veterans as well as some young guys. I mean, it's not really loaded with talent. It's loaded more with age and experience. So that's what the Jets are really dealing with. Of course, Garrett Wilson is the big story at wide receiver. Looks like he's going to play in Week 10. Said it himself that he should be good after that knee injury that he experienced in the game out in London against Denver a couple of weeks ago. So he'll return from that knee injury, and the Jets offense just has to get something going. It's not going to be easy. They're going up against one of the toughest defenses in all of football. You look at Cleveland this year, their defense, second overall in total defense. Their offense on the other side, 31st in total offense this season. So completely different on both sides of the ball. So the Browns on the other side have to figure things out with Dillon Gabriel at quarterback. They've looked a little bit better recently. I mean, they had that second half against New England a couple of weeks ago where you saw a little bit of promise at quarterback for Dillon Gabriel. And then the week before that against Miami, it was all Browns in that game. 31 points up on the board. But this game on the road, the Browns have not been good away from home this year, and they have to really figure things out. 0-4 on the road. The Jets have not been much better at home, though. They only have one win on the season. It came on the road the week before the bye out in Cincinnati. So this is a snooze fest of a game, and one that really all the storylines are going to be, how can the Jets fill the void right now of Quinnen Williams as well as Sauce Gardner on their defense? I think you're expecting the offense to look improved from how it was a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, they put up 39 points in that game against Cincinnati, but for the first three quarters or so, they were really invisible on the offensive side of the ball. So they got to figure things out, and they look to do so against one of the toughest defenses and one of the toughest players to play against in all of football. Myles Garrett will be licking his lips heading into this game against the Jets, so it should be a great one. I think the Browns probably end up winning this game. If the Jets win it, like they should, they're on their home field, but Cleveland, 2.5-point favorites for a reason, and it's because their defense is just unstoppable at some moments during the game, and I don't think the Jets' young offensive line will be able to handle that really loaded front that Cleveland brings into this game on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll see what happens, but make sure you tune in Sunday at 1 o'clock as the Jets host the Browns at MetLife Stadium. On the other side of New York, the Giants are also in action, but they're out in Chicago this weekend, taking on the 5-3 Chicago Bears on the road at Soldier Field. This one Sunday at 1 o'clock as well. But the Bears come into this game as 4.5-point favorites, total sitting at 46.5. Giants 2-7, Bears 5-3. And the Bears looking good recently. I know they had a couple of mishaps here and there, but I would say that win against Cincinnati tells you that they're in good shape, even after that bad loss on the road to Baltimore, where they really just got trucked on the defensive side of the ball. 30 points allowed against the Baltimore team that was really struggling on the offensive end. The Bears have dealt with their fair share of injuries and still came out of that Cincinnati game with the win. DeAndre Swift did not play in that game. Looks like he's going to be back for this one against the Giants. Still questionable with that groin injury, but looks like he's probably going to play, and that's going to be a great addition for the Chicago offense that was missing him a week ago. Rome Odunze, another guy that really stands out for Chicago, not dealing with any injuries anymore. He's off the injury report. He's going to play, but a guy who's looking for his targets, and his fair share of targets have not been there recently. He had only 3 targets a week ago and had no receptions in that game, where a game where they put up almost 90 points up on the board, the two teams combined, and Rome Odunze does not have a catch. I mean, it cannot happen for Chicago in this offense. You look for him to get more involved, especially this weekend as the Giants deal with injuries on their own side of the ball. Paulson Adebo going to be out for this game, the star corner for the Giants. He's out due to an MCL injury, officially ruled out for this game. So the Giants have a heavy loss there on the defensive side of the ball, and a defense that has not looked good recently, got trucked once again last week against San Francisco, and you're looking for this Chicago team to really step it up. And as 4.5-point favorites on their home field, you really look at Chicago and say, yeah, they should handle business here against this Giants team. But there is still some optimism on the offensive side of the ball. Jackson Dart at quarterback. The Giants have continued to put up points. 32 2 weeks ago out in Denver, 20 out in Philadelphia, as well as 24 a week ago. I know it came later in the game into the second half where the Giants really woke up on offense, but you got to love what you're seeing right now from Jackson Dart at any point in the game. He really looks confident in the pocket and getting it to his receivers, even though this Giants offense has been plagued all season long by injuries. So you're looking at this game saying, yeah, Chicago should win it, but you're looking as well at Jackson Dart, seeing how he plays. Brian Daboll trying to save his job right now, as well as Joe Schoen. 2-7 is not going to cut it. They have to grab a couple of more wins to really start to boost the confidence of John Mara and the higher-ups there in the Giants organization, proving that Daboll and Schoen are the right guys for the future to develop Dart and develop these young players on the Giants offense. So we'll see what happens, but for right now, the Giants just hoping to get a win here and there. They're 0-5 on the road. Does not really work out for them heading out to Chicago against a 5-3 Bears team. Make sure you tune in Sunday at 1 o'clock. Bears 4.5-point favorites coming into this game at Soldier Field. Let's shift things to the world of basketball, and we have both sides of the NBA as well as college ball, as college ball has officially returned. We'll start things in the NBA as the New York Knicks were in action on Wednesday at MSG. They hosted the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it was all Knicks in this one. 137-114. The Knicks grabbed the victory and moved to 5-3 on the year. They had great contributions on the outside, 19 three-pointers in this game, and they shot almost 54% from the field in this one. Great performance on the offensive end, but it was all the work down low that really stood out in the paint. The Knicks dominated a tough front from Minnesota. Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, they did not stand a chance as the Knicks out-rebounded Minnesota 50-31, including 21 offensive rebounds for the Knicks in this game. That's what Mike Brown wants to see. Domination down low from everybody who stepped into the lineup, and the Knicks really looked good in this game. I really like what I'm seeing right now from this Knicks offense, especially as well from the bench who stepped up in this game. They had a lot of contributions, especially from Josh Hart, who had 18 points in this one. Deuce McBride had 14 as well. Jordan Clarkson added 7 points. So the Knicks really stepping up when their starters come out, and that's what you want to see, especially with how this roster is built. You need to take some of the load off of the starting lineup, but the starters really stepped up as well. 23 and 10 for Jalen Brunson, and including 7 rebounds in this game. OG Anunoby led the team with 25 points, 10 of 17 shooting, including 3 3-pointers from beyond the arc, as well as 8 rebounds down low. He did some good work as well on the defensive side of the ball, 2 steals and a block. The Knicks really putting things together early, and I know it's only 8 games into the season, but they're 5-0 on their home floor at MSG. It seems like they play much better in front of the home crowd, and they want to continue that. They do host the Brooklyn Nets on the weekend, out on Sunday afternoon, 6 o'clock the start at MSG. It's the 5-3 Knicks hosting the 1-7 Nets, And the Battle of New York for a Brooklyn Nets team that has really struggled so far this season. They got a couple guys, Michael Porter Jr. being one of them, who's really stepped up so far, averaging over 22 points per game this season, but the Knicks should handle business on their home floor. No spread out just yet, but Cam Thomas is going to be out for this one, it looks like, and it looks like the Knicks should take this one pretty easily against their crosstown rivals. So the Nets obviously have been struggling this year. The Knicks, it's been the complete opposite. Now 3 straight wins on this 7-game homestand. That's a great way to start it off. And now this is going to be game 4 as they host the Brooklyn Nets Sunday at 6 o'clock. But they're not the only team playing at the Garden this weekend. Let's shift things to college ball as number 5 St. John's hosts number 15 Alabama. 12 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. What a matchup we have, and St. John's comes in as 6.5-point favorites, total sitting at 168.5. 2 high-scoring offenses going to battle here at MSG. It's going to be a great game down low, and I think that's where the difference is in this game. Can Alabama really recreate what they were able to do down low a season ago? They had 3 massive rebounders down there in Grant Nelson, Omoruyi, as well as Diabate. All 3 of those guys out the door, and St. John's has the advantage down low on the front line. You got Zuby Ejiofor, the star leader for St. John's heading into this year in the paint. You also have Bryce Hopkins. You add Dylan Mitchell, the transfer from Cincinnati, into that. And St. John's has a powerhouse down low on the block. They're going up against a Crimson Tide team that, like I said, lost a lot of guys from a season ago, relying on some new guys, some young, inexperienced freshmen, Aiden Sherrill. You also have Allen and Jemison down there. So the St. John's Red Storm have to dominate in the paint. If they could do that, it's going to be the difference in this game. On the offensive side of the ball, though, the scoring will be all around for Alabama. It always is. They put up over 90 in their season opener. St. John's put up 108 in their season opener against Quinnipiac. So the offense will not be a problem in this game. It's more so about the defense and the shot blockers down low. You probably give the shot blocking advantage to Alabama. They got a lot of size down there and a lot of guys who can really hit the ball around. Aiden Sherrill being one of them, had 4 blocks in the opening game of Alabama's season. But the scorer for the Crimson Tide coming into this game, LeBaron Phelan, he is one of the best scorers in all of college basketball, had 22 points in the opener the other day, and St. John's is going to have their work cut out for them in this one, trying to guard Phelan in this game. He's a great scorer, and Alabama, their leader, is Phelan this year in the loss of Mark Sears from a season ago. So this one should be a great matchup. You look at the last game for St. John's against Quinnipiac, it was all domination. Obviously, they want to be better on the defensive side of the ball. 74 points allowed in this game. They still covered. Everything went over in the total, but St. John's has to do better work on the defensive side of the ball, especially against a powerhouse offense against like Alabama. Nate Oates' fast tempo, high-powered offense is not going to treat this St. John's defense lightly, and they have to really figure things out on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be a great matchup, but like I said, it's going to come down to down low. Can St. John's dominate down there? The rebounding battle is going to be huge. They also can't turn the ball over and get into those spells where they really go scoreless for a while. Alabama is going to make them pay, and St. John's has their work cut out for them. What a matchup we have. It's going to be a great one. The first big test of the season for both teams, as Alabama comes in number 15 in the nation. Number 5 St. John's hosts them at Madison Square Garden. A great matchup. Make sure you tune in 12 o'clock on Saturday. But that will do it for episode 121 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malum, but thanks for watching, and talk to you all on Tuesday.